Now, as we have discussed in the last lecture, we have prosencephalon. This is called forebrain. This is mesencephalon, and this is called the midbrain. This is rhombencephalon, and this is called the hindbrain. After some time of the gestation period, the prosencephalon invaginate and form two new structures. The first structure is the bigger one, which is called the telencephalon, and another one is a smaller structure, which is called the diencephalon. And this diencephalon will actually make the eyeball, right? So as you can see, the diencephalon, this smaller outpouch, which is here, this is called the diencephalon. And this structure is called the optic stalk. And this outpouch is called the optic vesicle. And after some time of the gestation period, this optic vesicle will convert into a new structure when this outpouch will invaginate from here. After the invagination of this optic vesicle, a new structure is formed, which is called the optic cup. As you can see, this is the cup-like structure. So this cup-like structure, which is called the optic cup, have two different layers. The first layer is this posterior layer, and the second one is the anterior layer. So actually, these two layers will form our retina. This posterior layer will convert into the retinal pigmented epithelium, which is the first layer of the retina, right? Which is pigmentary layer of the retina. And this anterior structure, this anterior layer in the green marker, this is the neuronal layer of the retina. So now we will discuss about the different cells and different layers of the retina in detail. Now, as you can see, the broad structure of the eyeball. This is anterior most transparent structure, which is called cornea. And this in the black marker is called the toughest membrane, which is called sclera, the white of the eye. And this colorful structure is called iris. And this one, this triangular structure is called the ciliary body. And posterior to the sclera, this reddish structure is called the choroid. And now we are moving towards the retina, which is our topic. And as you can see here, these structures, these fingers-like projections, in the blue marker, this structure, this layer is called the retinal pigmented epithelium, which is a pigmentary layer of the retina. And if we go further, we have the photoreceptor cells. As you can see, this is cone and this is rod. So all these structures, all these layers, this is the photoreceptors layer, the layer of the rods and the cones. And then in the red marker, we have the bipolar cells. And with the bipolar cells, we have the ganglionic layer, right? And the action potential, the gradient potential or the local potential is moved from photoreceptor cells towards the bipolar cells, and from the bipolar cells towards the ganglionic cells, right? And as you know that the local potential or the gradient potential is converted into action potential in the ganglionic layer. So from the ganglionic layer, all the action potential will move towards the optic nerve, and from the optic nerve it will move towards the central nervous system and in the visual cortex of the central nervous system, as we have discussed. Now in this video, we will discuss about the different cells and layers of the retina. And the first of all, this black portion is called the sclera, which is the toughest membrane of the eyeball. And after the sclera, this reddish portion is called the choroid. And the blood supply of the choroid is actually coming from the internal carotid artery. The internal carotid artery gives its blood supply to the ophthalmic artery. So the ophthalmic artery gives the blood supply to the posterior ciliary artery. So the internal carotid artery will give the circulation, the blood supply to the ophthalmic artery, and the ophthalmic artery will give the circulation, the blood supply to the posterior ciliary artery. So the posterior ciliary artery will give its circulation to the choroid. But when the posterior ciliary artery will reach in the choroid, it will change its characteristics. You can say the capillaries in this choroid are leaky blood vessels. So the blood can freely move in the choroid. But there is a blood retinal barrier in the retinal pigmented epithelium. This portion in the blue marker is the retinal pigmented epithelium. So there is a blood retinal barrier in the retinal pigmented epithelium. So this blood retinal barrier will resist the outflow of the blood in the sensory layer of the retina. So now we will discuss about the different layers of the retina. Now the very first layer of the retina is called the retinal pigmented epithelium. And a major function of the retinal pigmented epithelium is this retinal pigmented epithelium has melanin. And this melanin is actually absorb the excessive light which is coming out from the outside. Right? And next to the retinal pigmented epithelium, this is retinal pigmented epithelium. And next to the retinal pigmented epithelium, our layer is the photoreceptor layer. There are two types of the photoreceptors in the retina. The first one is called the cones and the second one is called the rods. As you can see here, these cone-shaped photoreceptor cells are called the cones, right? And this portion, you can see this portion is called the outer portion of the photoreceptor cell. And this one, which has the nucleus, this area is called the nuclear area of the photoreceptor cells. And this layer, or you can say this part of the photoreceptor cells is called the inner structure or the inner part of the photoreceptor cells. And now, as you can see, this is the rod-shaped photoreceptor cells. And this is called the rods. And you know that the cones are very helpful to differentiate in the different colors in the daylight. And the rods are very, very helpful in the dark. Right? So, the cone has the photoreceptor cells is called the photopsin. This is actually the pigment which is helpful in the daylight to differentiate different colors. And if we talk about the rods has the rhodopsin, the pigment. And this rhodopsin is actually helpful in the dark. So next to the photoreceptor cells, okay, the last portion of the photoreceptor cells is the synaptic terminal, right? which has different neurotransmitters. We will discuss about the neurotransmitters later, right? And next to the photoreceptor cells, this portion is called the bipolar cells. These are bipolar cells, and this portion, the green marker, is actually the most important part of the retina, is called the ganglionic cells. These are called the ganglionic layer. When the light comes from the outside, as you know that the portion which is the most sensitive to the light are the photoreceptor cells, the rods and the cones. These are most sensitive for the light. And when the light comes from outside, for the very first, these cells are being activated, the rhodopsin and photopsin of the photoreceptor cells, right? So these are the most sensitive to the light. And if the light is very excessive, as we have discussed, the melanin of the retinal pigmented epithelium are captured or absorbed the excessive light, right? So first of all, the light will come in the photoreceptor cells, and then from these synaptic terminals, that light will move toward the bipolar cells, and then from the bipolar cells, it will move towards the ganglionic layer. So whenever the light is in this portion of the photoreceptor cells, it is the optical image, the local potential, the gradient potential, right? And when it moves towards the bipolar cells, it will remain the same, right? It will remain the gradient potential or the local potential. But when the light will move in the ganglionic layer, this local potential or this gradient potential will convert into the action potential in the electric current, and then this electric current will move towards the optic nerve, and this optic nerve will take this action potential towards the central nervous system, toward the visual cortex of the central nervous system. And now we will discuss about the 10 different layers of the retina. Now the very first layer from the 10 layers of the retina is called the retinal pigmented epithelium. So I will mention here, this is the first layer of the retina, which is called the retinal pigmented epithelium. And the next layer is called the photoreceptor layer, the layers of the rods and cones. So this layer, as you can see, this is nucleus of the photoreceptor cells. These dots in the black marker are the nucleus of the photoreceptor cells. I'm not talking about this. The portion before this nucleus is the photoreceptor layer or the layers of the rods and cones. This is second layer of the retina, right? And before discussing about the further layers of the retina, we have to discuss about the different cells of the retina, which are most important cells. They have major role in the conduction of the action potential. So the first cell is called the horizontal cells, right? The horizontal cells. Actually, these horizontal cells are not the supporting cells. Actually, they are conduction. They are actually for the conduction of the action potential from one gradient to the other. So these horizontal cells, as you can see here, these horizontal cells will act laterally, like they will conduct the different parts of the bipolar cells and the photoreceptor cells. Actually, they make contacts between the bipolar cells and the photoreceptor cells. So these cells are called the horizontal cells. So as you can see here, these horizontal cells which actually make contact between the bipolar cells and the photoreceptor cells, they are called horizontal cells. We have another type of the cells which is the amacrine cells. And these amacrine cells have the same function, the same property like the horizontal cells. They will make contact between these bipolar cells in the blue color as you can see and the ganglionic layer. So these amacrine cells will develop a relationship between the bipolar cells and the ganglionic cells. So we have two different types of the cells. The first one is called the horizontal cells, which are not the supporting cells. They are conducting cells, which conduct the action potential, the gradient or the local potential between the photoreceptor cells and the bipolar cells, right? They are called the horizontal cells. And the cells which are called the amacrine cells, they are also the conduction. They are also for the conduction. So they make conduction between the bipolar cells and the ganglionic cells, right? So we will discuss another cells which are most important, and those are called the Muller cells. These Muller cells have two different ends. One end is outer end and the other one is the inner end. So these Muller cells, the first end, the outer end of these Muller cells is, it will move from here, and the outer end of these Muller cells will approach in the photoreceptor cells. As you can see, these Muller cells will travel from here and it will cross throughout these cells and it will reach in the photoreceptor cells here near the nucleus of the photoreceptor cells, right? And again, so it will make a new layer. These Muller cells will make a new layer in the portion of the photoreceptor cells, and this is called the outer end of the Muller cells. Now we will discuss about the inner end of the Muller cells. So from here, the Muller cell will move towards its inner end. So as you can see, the outer end of the Muller cells will start from here, from the nucleus of the Muller cells. These are nucleus of the Muller cells. So the outer end will move from here and it will approach the photoreceptor cells and it will make a new layer in the portion of the photoreceptor cells near the nucleus of the photoreceptor cells, right? And the inner end, it will move from the nucleus of the Muller cells and it will travel towards the vitreous. It will cross the ganglionic layer, the nerve fiber layer, and it will move towards the vitreous. And it will make a new layer near the vitreous over here. And now we will discuss about the different layers of the retina. This is the first layer, which is called the retinal pigmented epithelium. And this layer, this is called the photoreceptor cells. Sorry, the photoreceptor layer, the layer of the rods and the cones. Now the third layer is, as you can see, the Muller cells. As you remember, the outer portion of the, or you can say the outer part of the Muller cells is making a new layer in the portion of the photoreceptor cells, right? And as you can see, these Muller cells are making a new layer over here in the region of the photoreceptor cells. So they will make a new layer, and this layer, which is made by the Muller cells, the outer portion of the Muller cells, is called this layer. I'm talking about this layer. So this layer is the third layer of the retina, and the name of this retinal layer is called the third layer, and it is called the outer limiting membrane, which is made by the outer portion of the Muller cells. Now the next layer, as you can see, if we move forward, you can see these black dots in the photoreceptor cells, in the rods and the cones. So these layer of the rods and cones, the nucleus of the rod and cones is called the outer nuclear layer, right? After the Muller cells, this is in outer limiting membrane, and after the outer limiting membrane, the layer of these nucleus of the photoreceptor cells is called the outer nuclear membrane. And if you move forward, as you can see, the point where the synaptic terminal of the photoreceptor cells and the bipolar cells are meeting together. So this point where both of these portions are interacting with each other is called the fifth layer. And this fifth layer is called the outer plexiform. This is called the outer plexiform layer. So when we move forward, as you can see, the inner portion of the nuclei, as you can see, these black dots are actually the nuclei of the bipolar cells. As you can see, this blue portion is for the bipolar cells, and these black dots are actually the nuclei of the bipolar cells, and they will make a new layer of the nuclei. So this will make a sixth layer of the retina, which is called the inner nuclear layer. So when we move forward, this is the sixth layer, which is called the inner nuclear layer. And again, the point where the synaptic terminal of the bipolar cells and the ganglionic cells are interacting with each other, this point is make a new layer, and this layer is called the seventh layer, and the name of this layer is called the inner plexiform layer, right? And then this layer, which is exactly the ganglionic layer, this is they do not have any specific name. Thank God they have the ganglionic layer, and this is called the eighth layer of the retina. And now the second last is called from where the nerve fibers of the action potential are moving towards the optic nerve. So this nerve, so this portion of the is called the nerve fiber layers, because the fibers are moving towards the optic nerve, and this is called the second last layer of the retina, and this is called the nerve fiber layer. And now the very last layer of the retina is called, as you can see, these molar cells again, the inner portion of the molar cells are making a new layer over here. As you can see, this layer, which is moving ahead towards the vitreous, and this is called the inner limiting membrane. So these are 10 different layers of the retina. I can repeat in a minute that this is first layer. The first layer of the retina is called the retinal pigmented epithelium, and the second layer is called the photoreceptor layer, the layer of the rods and the cones, and the third layer is called the outer limiting membrane, and the third layer is actually forming due to the inner portion, so the outer portion of the molar cells, this portion in the blue marker. So this is called the outer limiting membrane, and the fourth one is called the outer nuclear layer, and these nuclei are of the photoreceptor cells. This is fourth layer. And if we talk about the fifth layer, then this fifth layer is called the outer plexiform, and the outer plexiform are actually the synaptic terminal interaction between the photoreceptor cells and the bipolar cells. And if we talk about the sixth layer, which is actually the nuclear layer, these nuclei are of the bipolar cells, and this layer is called the inner nuclear layer. And then the seventh layer is called inner plexiform, and the inner plexiform, this is synaptic terminal interaction between the bipolar cells and the ganglionic cells. And if you talk about the eighth layer, which is called the ganglionic layer, and the ninth one is called the nerve fiber layer, and the last is called the inner limiting membrane. And now we will discuss about the different neurotransmitters in this conduction of the action potential. The neurotransmitters are actually the transmitters which are helpful to conduct the action potential from one region to another region. So as you can see here, these are photoreceptor cells and these are bipolar cells. The neurotransmitter which is actually helpful from the local potential or gradient potential to travel from the photoreceptor cells toward the bipolar cells are glutamate. So the glutamate is actually the neurotransmitter which is actually helpful to travel the local potential from one region to the another region is called the glutamate. So the glutamate is actually helpful in conduction of the local potential from the bipolar cells towards the ganglionic cells. So from photoreceptor cells to bipolar cells and from bipolar cells to the ganglionic cells, the neurotransmitter which is actually helpful for the conduction of the action potential is glutamate. And now the neurotransmitter in the horizontal cells are GABA, G-A-B-A, the gamma aminobutyric acid. And this GABA is actually helpful for the conduction of the action potential or local potential or gradient potential from one region to another region. And if you talk about the amacrine cells, in the amacrine cells, there are three different neurotransmitters. The first one is called GABA, the gamma aminobutyric acid. The second one is called dopamine, and the third one is called the acetylcholine.